We are less than a month from the midterm elections, and many still have questions about what's on the ballot, who's on the ballot, and how or when to vote. Local 4 and Click on Detroit have a brand new voter guide to help with all of those questions.
With just weeks until the election, there is a lot to consider this year, from hot-button issues to a historic race for governor to many voters in brand new districts with all new candidates. It can be a lot to take in. That's where the Local 4 voting guide comes in. We wrote it with all the things voters would or could need in mind, starting with the major races like the governor, secretary of state, and attorney general, but also the state Supreme Court and every single congressional race. And every candidate has a breakdown of who they are, what their big stances are based on their websites, ads, and public comments, and who's endorsing them. But it's not just about the candidates. We've also got the big issues voters will be deciding too. By now, most people know abortion is on the ballot, but how about voting rights, voter ID, government transparency, and term limits? Well, all the details about those are in the guide too. Voters could also face a lot of confusion this year. Practically every district has changed, and that means voters could be in new districts or their polling places could have changed. And if you aren't sure, we've got you covered with maps of all the new districts to explore. Finally, all the big dates to know if you're voting in person or absentee, what you need to bring with you, plus the rules about what you can wear, say, and do while you're voting. All of this and more waiting for you inside the Local 4 voter guide to help you make the right choice for you.
Now, this guide is written by myself and Click on Detroit managing editor Ken Haddad. Ken, thanks for joining us here this morning. I know it's a lot to ask on a Sunday morning, especially when the Lions are playing.
It's okay. I'm ready for 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we're very ready. So let's talk about this. You came to me and asked to help write this guide. Why do this year?
Well, we have a lot of big changes on the ballot with redistricting. So a lot of popular candidates, people who have been in office for years, they're running in new districts. They're running against candidates that you may not know. So it's a good time to get reacclimated with where your candidates are running by district.
You know, we've done some of these stories before. Right? We've had articles, we've had pieces during election season, but this is brand new for us. So why choose this election cycle to have this up?
Well, between the redistricting and the big ticket items on top of the ballot, between the governor's race, the AG race, the Secretary of State, all of our congressional races are up for voting, and then just trying to get people verified information. You know, we have a huge issue with misinformation these days. There's a lot of things on social media, specifically about the ballot proposals that people are voting on, the 3 big ballot proposals. So we wanted to make sure people could see what they're actually going to see on the ballot, word for word, and just to give people a clear, concise way to see the information.
And I think when people read this, they don't understand, how much work has actually gone into this. So I know I spent several hours doing this for each of the congressional races, and then you worked a lot on some of these other things. So how much work really went into this?
A long time. It was like 2 weeks of working, not constantly, but consistently. And the voter guide is not just about what you're voting on. It's about how you're voting, how to find your precinct, how to find your sample ballot, how to vote absentee, which you don't need an excuse to vote absentee. You can still do it right now. You can go to your clerk's office or apply for a ballot online. So all of those things are super important as we get closer to in-person election day.
And one of the coolest parts about this voter guide for me was actually the redistricting maps that we have now, because all of those things have changed. So you may have ended up in a new district, a new polling place, all those things, but we can actually go in and look at these maps, right?
Yes, and please do, because a lot of things have changed. A lot of people are in different districts. If you haven't voted since 2020 and you're going to your ballot right now, you may see a candidate that you've never seen there before. Right. So it's a good time to get acclimated and make sure that you're voting in the right district.
Perfect. Well, Ken Haddad, thanks for joining us this morning. And that QR code in the lower right-hand corner of your screen right there, that is the QR code to get to the voter guide on Click on Detroit. You can also just search that. It's also right on our homepage, right, Ken?
Yes, correct.
Right.
It'll be there till Election Day.
Perfect. Go Lions.
Go Lions.